What is going on, everybody watching? So, Misfits Unmanaged, if you saw the posting throughout the day, had something come up. So, last second here, ahead of John's reveal at the 5 o'clock hour of the Higby Horror Haunt theme, John, Drew, and I are going to do a little impromptu of the Campfire Chronicles podcast. You just heard about the Campfire Chronicles film. This is the Campfire Chronicles podcast that said film was centered around, if you were at the last panel. I thought a fun topic of conversation would be Halloween films that the haunts have not done yet. And what we do is we take said films and we discuss on the Campfire Chronicles podcast if they would make a cool haunted house scare zone, like attraction overlay, and or show. Like, would it be a good overlay for something like Bill and Ted's Halloween Adventure? And then what we do is we take one of the maps that is built and online that someone blanked out.
Uh-oh. He's had enough, folks.
I heard a train go by and then Jimmy left. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what the hell happened. But anyway, we take one of the
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No.
I was just going to mute the mic when I was like, I'll just close the window. Fun things about live.
We take one of the maps, like said map here, and we build our own scare park, man. So far this season, and you can go back on our podcasting channel and listen to these episodes, we looked at Willy's Wonderland, decided that it should have like some kind of dinner overlay attraction experience, and would be a dope haunted house. So you can see it's made it onto the virtual scare park this year. We said Critters, the original Critters, should be a haunted house. And we did a live podcast as we went to Spiral from the book of Saw, and we said that that should be a haunted house. So there you go. Today, the end point of this conversation, the debating point of this conversation is, I'm telling you guys right now, straight out of the get, we're talking haunted house. As we're debating the houses that have not been used are, I believe, Halloween 5, 6, H2O, and Resurrection, as well as 2018 and what will be 2021 and so forth and somewhat. I think the best choice is Hollywood Resurrection. Let me tell you why. H2O is too easy. H2O is too easy. You got Jamie Lee Curtis, Josh Hartnett, Michelle Williams at a very young and vibrant age. Very easy in LA or Florida to cast those parts. Take a chance. Think outside the box. Like a shitty reality TV show hosted by Busta Rhymes. A pay-per-view experience. Which, did you ever do any of these, dog? Halloween Resurrection is about them doing a live stream from the Myers house on Halloween night that they're charging. when the internet was dawning, back when this movie came out, you, Drew, you, John, did you ever do like some paywall online? A Halloween or any experience like what Busta Rhymes is putting together?
No, I'd rather go there in person.
So no, you wouldn't. Even like at a young age, maybe you couldn't go there in person. Would you watch? Would you pay $10 to watch some people screw around in the Myers house?
I mean, if I'm that young and I really want to waste my, allowance money, I still don't think I would.
Hey, the setup of this film is very simple. Busta Rhymes is doing a reality live stream online Halloween night. They're going through the Myers house. Can you spend the night in the Myers house? And then Michael Myers obviously shows up, and Bango Bongo, a bunch of kids get killed on live stream. And the whole time, the nerdy kid is communicating to the final girl via like text messages and shit online because he's watching her in the house. That's your premise. So if you're going to build that into a haunted house, you don't have to worry about any of that shit. You would literally call it Halloween Resurrection, have like 3-4 scenes from the movie, certain Michael Myers kills, and you're scot-free. If you listen to any podcast where John and I talk about history, we always bring up the story about how Knott's Berry Farm duped everybody with a stepfather attraction. You could call this thing Halloween Resurrection and have it eat people, because people are going to be like, oh, it's going to be shitty. I want to go see it, though. And it will be shitty, but it's still going to eat people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you throw the Halloween name on it, and I think it'll definitely eat up people, especially at a haunt event.
Yeah.
John, do you think Halloween Resurrection is the best fit for a haunted house? I already see it in your face. You're going to say no, Jimmy. You're being stupid, but go ahead.
Well, compared to the other options,
Yes.
I mean, I would pick H2O over it, but I mean, I would think that it would work. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want 5. The mask looked terrible in 5. So, I mean, I wouldn't even. I think most of the Halloween films work as mazes. Like, I could see each of them really being done as a haunt. But, like, I mean, I was surprised when we got 4 2 years ago, at HHN. And, yeah, it was. So, I mean, I'm excited that we're getting 3 to finally see that one, even though it doesn't have Michael Myers. But I think Resurrection would work because it starts out with him killing Jamie Lee, right?
Oh, that was Resurrection, yes. He kills Jamie Lee, throws her off the top of the hospital. Or
would you start with that for the maze?
That's a good question. I guess you could go through like, are we like pretending with this too? Like, are we gonna do best like case scenario? Or are we gonna do like what we know that Halloween Horror Nights would do? Because if we started with the hospital, what they would do is it would be like 2 hallways that kind of look like a hospital. There'd be like Jamie Lee voiceover. And then you would like round the corner, and what it would be like a background, like you're on a rooftop, and Michael Myers would be standing there.
No, knowing HHN, the whole most of the maze would be like the whole portion of Michael switching out his body with the EMT and like putting the tape over his mouth so he couldn't talk, putting the mask on him, having her kill him, and then him killing her, and then like the last 2 rooms would be the Busta Rhymes portion.
Yeah, but that was the tail end of H2O. The
Exactly.
one.
They would incorporate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could technically tie it all in because they do the flashback in Resurrection. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, Resurrection could work. It's like not one of the best in the franchise, but by far not one of the worst. Like I actually liked the way they did it as a, like a reality TV show that everybody's like, oh, it's all fake. It's all, and then Michael Myers actually shows up and just guts. Spoiler alert, Michael Myers shows up and does what he's born to do. The evil in his eyes, and he just rips apart everybody. Busta Rhymes was pretty funny. Wasn't Tyra Banks in that too?
I think it was Tyra Banks. It was like his producer. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I want to say it's Tyra Banks. They just want to see Walter. Come on now, John. Mm-hmm. They just want to see Walter.
That's what you get right there.
So H2O is basically about Josh Hartnett, angsty teen, mom of Jamie Lee Curtis, and then his girlfriend, Michelle Williams, sneaking away. Jamie Lee dates, I was going to call him Ben Nye the Science Guy. It's not Ben Nye the Science Guy, though, huh?
No. I can tell you. Hold on. I got it.
I don't know. I think throughout the whole franchise, like especially the parts with Michael, he's always targeting somebody either as part of his family, which is like Jamie Lee's, if you go by that that portion. It's always somebody who's like a cousin of theirs, or like with Paul Rudd being somewhat involved to where he saw him, as a kid, to where it seemed like this one, after he kills Jamie Lee, kind of like throws away the rest of what he's going after throughout the rest of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It was Adam Arkin. Yeah. It's actually really funny because I knew that dude from somewhere because we started watching a TV show on ABC called Rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the asshole in that show. So
do you guys foresee Halloween 28? I keep saying Halloween 2018, but do you think the Halloween franchise, John, 2021, 2018, or what is it, 2022 when it comes out, that final one? Like, how much of that Halloween trilogy do you think HHN's going to just, like, absolutely force feed down the throats of people?
Like, as far as turning it into a haunt, or just helping push, like, this?
No, like, as far as turning it, like, Walking Deading that franchise, for lack of a better term.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they would pump it down your throat. Which, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed The Walking Dead the first, its first years when it was the each individual haunt was a season. I enjoyed those. It was when it became the year-round attraction is where it lost a lot of its momentum, to where it was different enough to where each year was good. It fell flat, especially because of the lack of characters. Like, once it became the year-round attraction, you just always knew where they were going to be at. They never changed it.
Yeah.
I think as long as if HHN changed it every year to where it was one of the newer films, I don't have a problem with that. It's when we get the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre maze, 3 times in the span that we've been going, to where you're kind of like, oh, I wonder, what room we're going to see next. Oh, yeah, that room again. Oh, it's the same finale. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, The Walking Dead was funny too, because there was like 2 good years, a shitty year, a like pretty even shittier year, and then a really good year, and then they did the year-round thing. So
yeah, I think it was like the second year where it was back in the prison wasn't very good, and then all of a sudden it was like, then it was Terminus, which wasn't very good, but then it was the next year when they were like left Terminus, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was like one of those years where it was like, is Walking Dead on the way out? Like they've done like two kind of shitty ones back to back. Like if this one is like shitty too, like is this the last year that they'll do Walking Dead? And then we did it, and we were like, damn, it's like the best one.
Yeah, I think it was you're going in already kind of disappointed because I remember when it got announced, it was like, oh man, it was like the last 2 years weren't that great. Like
Yeah,
we'll see. You know, it's almost so much of that same style as zombies you can take. And then when
right.
we did the last one, it was like, oh shit, like that was pretty good. Like it's like I don't know how that worked or what specifically they did that just made it work so well. And then it was funny because when it was like, oh, it's getting its permanent, year-round traction, it was like, okay, after the last thing we got, I'm in. And then you go through it and you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty underwhelming for me. Like I remember going into that permanent attraction going, because like my wife wanted me to go on it, and I'm like, I don't want to go on it because I don't want people to jump out and scare me. I don't like it. I don't like when people like get in close to me and try and scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm afraid of it. It's just I'm afraid my instant gut reaction is gonna be I just want to fucking sock somebody in the face. You know, I would never do it, but but then I remember walking through it for the first time and I'm just like, meh. It was okay. I mean, the makeup looked cool, but like you said, the lack of jump scares from the characters it was underwhelming, if that makes sense. Like
I just remember being so angry after going through it and going, we lost House of Horrors for this.
Yeah, because the House of Horrors was amazing. Because that was the one where you walked through like the giant set piece of Van Helsing with the Frankenstein monster. And then they had Chucky, they had
Psycho,
they had did they have Scream?
No.
I thought they had Ghostface one year.
And they had Strangers.
Oh. I swear to God, one time they had Scream. They had Ghostface on there at some point in time on it. Because that was a year-round haunt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was their thing. It was all the Universal-based properties.
Oh, I thought one time they put Scream in there. I could be wrong. I'm just saying. I could have swore I remember almost getting jabbed in the gut by Ghostface. But that was by far better than the Walking Dead one.
Yeah, I loved House of Horrors. I could go through that every year, even though they would slightly change it during HHN. It still had the same bones, and I just really enjoyed that walkthrough. Like there was a couple times when they did like overlays, and I'm just like, you guys could have just kept it at House of Horrors, and I'd be perfectly fine. Like you didn't need to. I think that's why when we got Universal Monsters as its own maze, 3 years ago, it was just like it was like so refreshing to get those monsters back and in a new form. So it was like, hell yes, like this is what we wanted. It's like just put this in where Walking Dead is. Like just give us Universal Monsters and throw that in there as a permanent thing. Because it's like once they got rid of that, you didn't have a place or a home for the Universal Monsters anywhere in the park, which is very disappointing.
And what's sad about that is I'm pretty sure all of us are around the same age, right? Yeah. And growing up,
I'm 37. John's young, so John's.
Well, I'll be 38. I'll be 38 in November. So, am I the oldest person in this group?
John's like 22 years old.
Jesus,
I'm
John.
32.
Grow up, man. Grow up. No, but going to Universal Studios as a kid, right? I just remember for me, I would say the golden years for Universal, where they actually had the Universal Monsters out walking around on the streets over in the streets of London, and you got to meet the Phantom of the Opera, the Mummy, Frankenstein. I don't remember if Wolfman was a part of that, but Dracula and all of them. You got to meet all these people back then, and they've they just don't do as much as they used to. And I wish they did. It's a lot hard. Like when it gets really hot out there, they don't even bring out characters.
Well, now with COVID too, like who knows? Like,
yeah, it's sad, but I miss those days.
The Mummy has its roller coaster, but I would be okay if they decided to get rid of the Mummy coaster and actually put in like a whole Universal Monsters dark ride on that lower lot. Like I would be 110% sold on that.
And you could have scare characters in it.
When you say that, you mean like what they're talking about doing in the Orlando, the dark or Epic Universe, that dark Universal Monster land.
Yeah, they're getting a whole land for the Universal Monsters, which would be more reason to Florida.
You're saying that you would sacrifice most of the lower lot, what is now, for that.
I mean, just like if you took the Mummy and if you kind of expand it out that way towards like underneath where Hogwarts, I mean, there's room for expansion right there.
Gentlemen, I'm happy to report that just a little bit before being halfway done with the panel, we have a guest joining us on the live edition of Campfire Chronicles.
Who do we got?
Someone who taste in Friday the 13th films hopefully will not match his taste in the Halloween franchise. Campfire Chronicles panelist Charlie joins the
hey, there he is.
How's it going,
guys?
man?
Friday the 13th shirt. I see it. Hey, me too.
That's a good one. No, yes, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
So
I was gonna build not to cut you off real quick, but I was gonna build on what John said. I was kind of pissed when they took out E.T. because I feel like E.T. was a better ride than the Mummy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I remember E.T. scared the living shit out of me when I was a kid.
That's because, Drew, you're correct on two reasons. One, you're correct because you're right. E.T. is a better ride than the Mummy in L.A. The dark ride, having gone through the dark ride recently for Mardi Gras Universal Orlando like a couple months ago, the dark ride in current standing still better than the Mummy in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Two, you're even more angry about it because the Mummy in Orlando is super dope. Way better than the Hollywood Mummy. So you see what could be done with that property.
Yes.
Sad thing is I've never even been to Universal Studios Florida, and I want to.
The Mummy in Orlando stood the test of time. It's still fun to ride.
Was that kind of like their version of Jaws was better than our version of Jaws?
Yes.
Yeah, when they had it.
The Mummy car comes into the loading station, stops, the Mummy kills the ride operator, and then you drop down and go on more of the roller coaster, and then you finally end.
Nice.
It's pretty rad.
That reminds me of like the Tower of Terror in Florida compared to the Tower of Terror over here, where they actually walk you through the entrance of, like you get in the car and then it takes you through the entrance of Twilight Zone, and you see like, the clock, the eye, and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyways, I'm sorry, I digress. Charlie, how's it going?
Charlie, what's your stance on Halloween Resurrection?
Yeah, so Charlie, to catch you up, Charlie. To catch Charlie.
Wow, what a question to hit me with.
And what to catch Charlie up, what we did, Charlie, we said for this episode of Campfire Chronicles is that any Halloween movie that hasn't been used for a maze was on the table. And so we landed on diving out the details of what composed Halloween Resurrection.
Wait, come here.
And then and then after talking about it, I think it would be probably one of the worst mazes that ever existed. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Worse than Paul Rudd in 6?
Unless you could get Buster Rhymes, you know.
to make like a personal appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, to actually be there, you know.
Wow, in the room itself.
I want Buster Rhymes in the Michael Myers mask like he was in the movie, though.
Well, don't like take it as a slight with Busta, because he doesn't seem, when I say this, but he doesn't seem like he'd be busy.
Buster Rhymes, if you're watching, we're sorry. Not all views are shared by everybody.
Yeah, I think his star was falling just about the time of Halloween Resurrection, as evidenced by the fact that he is in Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't think so.
But hey, don't sleep on 6. It's got Paul Rudd in it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, we said Ruddoween was on the table. John and I had a text message conversation.
And the producer's cut, you know, the version, the latest version that came out is much better than the
original version.
Theatrical version. Yeah, it is. Has a lot more background for some characters, and actually Donald Pleasance is in it a lot more, which I don't understand why they cut him out of a lot of his scenes anyway. So
that's the version of that movie that you can get in the box set that came out a few years ago.
I have that set.
Yeah, you can.
All the cases are black.
It was in the box set, but you can buy it separately too.
Oh,
you know, it's available separately. I bought it a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's a different film, though. Really, it is.
No, it was. And
check it out.
It was like what? Like what would you say? 20 minutes longer, something like that.
Yeah, it just had a lot more background, you know, the Loomis, you know, Dr. Loomis had a lot more scenes that kind of set the context for some of the stuff that went on. And it was just it just made it a better film.
Paul Rudd is weird in that movie.
Yeah.
He was like a creepy stalker in that.
Yeah, he's like whacked out beyond. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, but you know, a lot of people
childhood.
Yeah.
Well, dude, like look at Tommy Jarvis. Like he's had a pretty fucked up adolescence. Like he lived through some shit, but he like still grows up to be like, according to Don't Hike Around in the Woods and Never Go Hiking Alone in the Snow, those 2 award-winning films that Thom Matthews was in. According to those, Tommy Jarvis winds up to be like a ass-kicking EMT.
Yeah.
So the Halloween franchise, the boy that Jamie Lee Curtis grew up to be the best that you could do. Halloween franchise was Tommy grew up to be some peeping Tom creeper who just lives in the upstairs of a house. Come on, man.
But I mean, the sad thing is a lot of people actually sleep on that movie, and they try and say it's not. I mean, the theatrical cut wasn't the best, but it definitely wasn't the worst of the Halloween franchise.
It isn't the worst, definitely.
No. Yeah, I mean, and then you're absolutely right. When you bring in the director's cut of it, it rounds out that movie to make it what it should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's no Jason X, that's for sure.
Oh, God damn. God, Charlie.
You want me to go back into the dungeon?
Hey, we made it 29 minutes.
Yeah.
The twist of the whole thing. I made some dungeon comment 8 hours ago. Charlie joins the podcast just to make a dig at Jason X. Now Charlie's going to drop out right now.
I'm going to go back to
Jason X, and I've done my job. Goodbye.
Rayanne says it's not a Leprechaun movie. Leprechaun movies are hit and miss, though. Like, we're pretty partial to Leprechaun in Space. We fucking hated Leprechaun in the Hood this year.
Wait,
like,
which one?
Go
Leprechaun
back and listen
in the
to
Hood
that.
or Leprechaun Back to the Hood?
The first one. We watched the first one.
Yeah, some of us enjoyed In the Hood, but we all felt that it wouldn't be good for a haunt event at all.
No, God, no. Were you gonna have him rapping at the end of the haunt? Yo, yo, yo! No.
Hey, don't go there. That might spark some ideas.
We literally divulge in that movie into a film that is about Ice-T being a rap mogul for like 45 minutes. And then we come back and Warwick Davis showed up. What the fuck happened? Like, what happened?
It was called They Wanted to Make Money Off of a Franchise, and they did. That was it. They said, hey, we can put the name Leprechaun in front of In the Hood, and it'll make money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it did, and spawned a sequel called Leprechaun Back to the... I'm sorry. Those are probably the two worst Leprechaun movies. Well, the worst Leprechaun movie of all of them was unfortunately the first WWE one, which was Origins. Origins was awful.
That
That's what I
movie
heard.
was
That's why I haven't watched it.
That's really
you're
separate.
The newest one, though, was not, even though it wasn't Warwick Davis, the newest one was not bad.
Leprechaun Origins. There are scenes in that film where you can see the zipper in the thing's costume.
Wasn't that Hornswoggle?
Yeah. They marketed the shit out of that. Oh,
Wow.
Hornswoggle's going to be the new Leprechaun. Come see the new Hornswoggle movie. He's the new Leprechaun in a horror franchise.
He didn't even
He's in a
talk.
fucking like Yoshi mask the whole movie. Like, you marketed this as the Hornswoggle horror movie? You don't know it's fucking Hornswoggle. He's in a Velociraptor costume, for God's sake. Like,
I'd rather watch See No Evil with Kane.
But you know
you
something?
know, we need to do that for the podcast. That's a good
We
movie.
do need to do that.
That was a good film, actually.
Yeah.
It had some creepy ass death scenes in that.
No, that was a good movie. I like that movie.
That might actually
Although
be my
See
next.
No Evil was much better than See No Evil 2.
I never saw the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't
me
miss much. You basically go like this: play. I'm good. But I mean, you like did you watch the new Leprechaun, Jimmy?
No.
The newest one, I have not seen it yet.
Well, hey, go on the Voodoo that you have on your thing. It's on there. Just go scroll through my movies. You can find it
Okay,
and watch it.
I'll check it out.
They brought back the original. You remember the original dude that swallowed the gold coin in the original movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a little bit different because it's not, Warwick Davis. Because I mean, Warwick Davis is Warwick Davis. It is what it is, and it's just like Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis is Leprechaun.
Right.
But they do a good enough job imitating him, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
totally.
guys.
Rand says Leprechaun in Space. We like that movie. We've
I like Leprechaun in Space too.
Would you say it's better than Jason X? Jason in Space.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Leprechaun in Space is better. than
God,
Jason.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Charlie, would you say going out and walking into the street is better than letting a car run you over? Better than watching Jason X? Charlie's gonna say, "Oh yeah, it is." Getting hit by a car better than
Actually,
watching
walking out in the street and getting run over would be better than watching Jason X.
If you want to know how much Charlie hates that movie, go back.
Oh, I hate Jason X with a passion.
Go back.
It'd be like Charlie saying, "Would you rather get run over and then backed over by the car after they run you over, or watch Jason X?" I'll take option 1.
If you want to know how much Charlie hates that movie, we published on our feed not too long ago. It's called our 600th mega podcast.
Yeah.
It's like 4 hours long. There's a reason. Listen to the podcast. It's filled with like podcasts. All the first 600 episodes, it's like 4 episodes that I thought were pretty funny that I wanted to feature. One of the episodes is that Jason X episode that Charlie, Andrew, Derek, and I recorded on Campfire Chronicles, coincidentally, from a couple years ago. You want to know how much Charlie hates Jason X?
Oh my God.
This isn't Charlie hating Jason X, because this is Charlie talking about it after the fact. You want to know how much Charlie hates Jason X? Go back, listen to that podcast, and listen to Charlie talking about that movie, having just watched it like 5 minutes ago. Like, Charlie really does not like this movie. Like,
nothing at all about it, or I mean, you couldn't find
nothing,
any
not one frame of film, not even the
really,
credits, not even the music.
They had some decent kills in it. Like when he froze the chick's face and just smashes it into the freaking.
Yeah, I have this.
No.
My life has been changed from watching Jason X. I feel like actually a part of my brain no longer functions. Jason X.
Why do I feel like we're going into a Billy Madison rant?
I feel like I've lost brain cells and I'm not as intelligent as I used to be because I actually have watched Jason X about 3 times.
Okay.
So every time, it's like taking this drug. It's like taking this really heavy drug that has this impact on you, where you just alter your personality every time you take it. If I watch it a couple more times,
we won't even know who you are anymore.
Hey, I don't even know who I am. So.
I swear to God, with him saying that, it just clearly reminds me of Billy Madison with the guy at the trivia for the triathlon. He's like, no, that is the wrong answer, and everyone in this room is stupider for having listened to your answer. May God have mercy on your soul. May God have mercy on your soul, and I hope you burn in hell.
Hey, Charlie, the positive about Jason X is now you know where your bar for the worst movie is. So anytime you compare stuff, it's like, hey, was it worse than that? And you're like, no. So it's like, oh, okay, then that movie wasn't that bad.
And you know what? I seldom ever dislike a horror film because I understand, that you take the good with the bad, that some are well made, some are not well made. But because, the variety is so good that you get crappy, but you get good. But this is so below crappy that.
Okay, Charlie.
I don't mean to take over the podcast, Jim, but
we just wanted a nice conversation about Halloween movies.
I'm letting out
the whole thing.
I'm letting out some pent up aggression, okay? I'm just,
let that man let it go.
I am. Jason X.
So Charlie, would you say that Halloween Resurrection is the shittiest movie in that franchise?
Yes, I would say it is, but I'd say, I don't know if you guys have discussed Halloween 5 or not, but Halloween 5 is not very good either.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one do you pick? 5 or Resurrection?
I think Resurrection, just because it's so, I don't know, it just felt like it was artificial. The whole thing was just, they didn't even work to really put up a decent script. I just thought it was a, attempt to cash in on the success of H2O, which was, a pretty good movie and was very successful. And so I just thought, they're just pissing on people again instead of continuing the franchise and maybe building it up again, Right. But they just went back to the same old lazy filmmaking. So that's why I don't like it.
So Resurrection is the shittiest.
I think so.
Is Resurrection...
But it is 100 times better than Jason X.
Yeah, he just answered my question. Okay.
What I was going to say, hey, if you thought Halloween Resurrection was going to be good going into it, thinking, "Hey, Busta Rhymes is in this. This is going to be Academy Award winning." You were dead wrong.
You were dead wrong. Yeah.
Okay. We got to get Michael Myers into this park, guys. So, Haunted Housewives, we have Spiral, we have Critters, and we have Willy's Wonderland. Is Halloween H2O the obvious choice of properties to be a haunted house? John says yes.
Yes.
Drew says yes.
Yeah.
Charlie?
I say yes. That is one of the better Halloween movies. And,
think of how creepy it would be to have to walk through the classrooms to do that, and walk through the kitchen that the one girl gets freaking killed in, the where she's hung by the light bulb because she got her freaking leg broken on the dumbwaiter. And when they go into the giant cafeteria, and there's just so much you can do with that movie.
Yeah.
The beginning would be, you have, when you're going into the maze, the front of the school with the car running right there, and you have the gate open, and you have LL Cool J or whoever would be playing his character checking out the car as you walk past. Like, it works as a horror haunt.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It has a lot of possibilities, I think. And I know you guys discussed this before I came on, but it's one of the better Halloween movies. It shows some effort. They spent some time, working on developing a script and working on, I got Jamie Lee Curtis back, and so one of the better ones.
So with that, you can see there that we have our little park, and you can kind of see that, like, that A, B, C, D, that's kind of the top tier area of the park there. And we said Spiral was a good enough movie that we said it should be in that top tier. Then Critters, we said, is in that middle tier, over in the bottom middle of your screen right now, actually. And then Willy's Wonderland, we actually put in the back of the park, not because we think that it should be a bottom tier haunt if someone ever featured it, but because we liked the proximity of a ride to that haunt, and we said that the ride also should be Willy's Wonderland themed. So that is why that is in that area. So that being said, Charlie and John, Drew, where do you think a Halloween H2O property belongs? The back of the park, so that bottom tier, middle of the park, the second tier, or part of that front area in the upper tier?
I mean, with a name like Halloween, that's top tier.
Okay.
I mean, that's a draw similar to using Saw with Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, properties like Saw and Halloween are ones where people who aren't even horror fans, when they see those, they're like, "Oh yeah, we want to check out that one because we know what it is."
Yeah,
so
I think I agree with John, and it is, when is haunt season? It's around Halloween. What's the perfect thing that you see when you walk into the park? Halloween. So
right. Yeah. Okay. Drew?
I'm definitely gonna go with the panel here. I would even dare say maybe A first.
Oh, you're talking about the actual spot on the location.
Yeah.
In A. So the first thing that you saw.
Yep.
A. Okay.
A. Yeah, because I mean it's Halloween. It's in the title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. And so with that, we thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, also coming out, what will be next week, tomorrow's Monday, is our regular show, which Drew picked Wrong Turn 2021 for us to go over and see if it belongs in our virtual scare park. So at which point, Halloween H2O will be part of that map, and it'll be in the that A position there. And so Wrong Turn 2021 will also be airing at some point this week for you podcast listeners and you're listening to this, or if you're watching this, that podcast will be out later on in the week on our normal podcasting feed. So check it out if you had fun listening to us banter over which Michael Myers should be featured in a virtual scare park. So anyway, man, coming up at 5 o'clock, about 10 minutes away, John has prepared a hell of a presentation for you guys to see the theme reveal for him. And then at 6 o'clock, Melissa will be back, and we will say farewell and thank you for supporting us throughout what has been a wild 2.5 day ride. And we thank you guys all for the support throughout everything. And we'll be back here shortly with John and his theme reveal.
All right, John.